Hi everyone, first off, before I start the video, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has liked my videos. I've only been up and running for 2 weeks and I nearly have 60 subs, that's fantastic. And the 1,000, I wish, 100 subscriber giveaway should be happening a lot sooner than I thought, so there's some good prizes there, but keep an eye out for that. Before I start this video, which is about protein source for your small rodent, I just want to show you my veg patch. Now, I've repaired this. In my last video I showed you it and Bambi had totally wrecked it, so what I've done is I stripped all the top off, but I left the side on, which was sisal string, because it wasn't too damaged, and I stripped all the top off and redone it. And what I've done is, I don't know if you can see there, these brown bits here are willow sticks, so I stuck them on with PVA glue, and what I tend to do is put a dollop into a little pot and then water it down, so I put that on the base and I stuck the willow sticks on, and this straw was already on. So what I done then was I cut the straw to size and stuck that on. Now these little veg just pop out and they've got holes in to refill if you haven't seen a veg patch before. Then this brown stuff and this green stuff. The green stuff was off the top of these that Bambi had chewed, so I just stuck them on here and there. And the brown stuff was already on, but again she totally pulled it apart, so I just restuck it on and I'm left with this. So I've got a little step-by-step guide, very simple and very easy, on my blog, and I'm going to link that below if you have one of these and want to repair them, or if you have something similar in mind and you just want to know how I repaired it, have a pop along to there. So yeah, that's my repaired veg patch, and I'll leave it to dry for about 24 hours, but all that's detailed in my blog, so I'm sure Bambi will have a good time destroying this again. So back to my video, which is what I actually want to talk about. One of the big reasons I started a YouTube was to get across the importance of diet in small rodents, because I do think they're overlooked, and especially with hamsters, mice, gerbils and rats, the mixes that are on the market seem to be not the best because they select feed from them, which means they pick out all the good bits and leave the other bits. I know a lot of people buy the pellets and mix these in, but again they seem to leave the pellets, and I've worked with rodents and I have owned many rodents and I've never come across a rodent that would sit and eat a full complete muesli mix. So today in this video I'm going to discuss 3 sources of protein, and in my next video I'm going to discuss the main part of the protein source I feed to mine. However, there's some preparation work in that, so I'm doing that in a separate video. However, keep an eye out, because I haven't found anyone on YouTube who is using this protein source for small rodents, only for other pets. So anyway, we'll get to the first part, which is cat and dog treats and food in wet form, so like these, we've got the wet meat, and in dry form, where we've got the dreamies, which are treats, and again you can buy the dry kibble if you're in America, or we tend to just call it cat biscuits or mixer biscuits. Now, the trouble with this is the majority is made up of byproducts, which are leftover meat, cartilage, bone, fat. And I don't know if you've ever seen Jamie Oliver's school dinners, but he done an excellent example of how they used to make a lot of chicken nuggets, which would be grind up the carcass, and this pink gloop would come out, and it's just absolutely all the rubbish in the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. And this is normally what a lot of our pet food is made up of, especially the wet food like this Whiskers and Sheba. Now these are bought for the cat that visits by my uncle. I tend to just give him dry food or tuna, things like that. By no means stop feeding these to your pets. I give the little what are they called again? Like marrow bone things. I give these to my gerbils, probably once a month, and I will give them the dry cat treats, maybe one each every week. It's fine for a treat, but I think they should be seen as a treat and not as the only protein source in your small pet rodent's diet. Again, look into your specific rodent, because things like chinchillas shouldn't be getting anything like this, where things like rats should be getting lots of meat sources in their diet. Last thing I want to say on these really is watch the video I'm going to link below. It's by a sort of scientist in America, and she does a quick talk with dog owners on the street, and then she does a quick analysis and talks you through the kind of things that are in your pet food. So have a watch of that, please. It's really informative, and it will go into this in a lot more detail. But again, you should really know exactly what you're giving your small rodent. Don't just trust because it says tasty chicken on the pack and it has 30% protein. Well, where's that protein source coming from? A lot of these are bulked up with grains such as oats and cereals. Obviously this is fine for small rodents, but again, how much is actually chicken? This is not premium chicken or beef, it's not premium chicken breast or steak or anything like that. It's all the leftover rubbish. If you're going to feed cat or dog food, I would suggest a really good brand like James Wellbeloved or Royal Canin, things like that. They tend to be the best dog food, and I normally feed James Wellbeloved to my dog. Now, another excellent source of protein is eggs. Now, these are raw, but I would only feed rats raw egg. For my 2 gerbils, I tend to boil the egg and give them just the egg white. Egg yolk is full of fat. It has about 6 grams of fat per 100 grams, something. Anyway, I'm not too sure, but it's really high in fat, the yolk, so only give that to maybe young animals or to your pet as an occasional treat. The egg white is full of protein, really high, and it's one of the best sources of protein you can get. In this 6 gram egg, 4 grams of it in the egg white is protein, which is really, really high. Give it as an occasional treat. I give this to my gerbils once or twice a week, depending on how often I can be bothered really to boil it. Sometimes I'll scramble it, they also enjoy it scrambled, but again, leave out the yolk. And then it's going to be just all the good stuff. Now, the best source of protein, of meat protein, in my opinion, and in lots of other people's opinion, is insects. Now, people, especially furry owners, I used to keep reptiles, so I'm not too squirmy, and I've worked with reptiles, but a lot of furry owners tend to go, insects, and they won't feed them, and they're really squirmy about them. What I would suggest is buying dry food. Now, I find that the dried mealworms and the dried crickets are just as good as the fresh. However, fresh is always better. I would feed fresh if I had more rodents. I only have 2 gerbils. So if you have lots of rodents, or you breed, or you have rescues, buy some live mealworms and feed them on a bit of carrot and some oats, and that's called gut loading, and feed them up and give them to your pet, and they will absolutely love them. Also, they have a high content of water then. Now, insects are a brilliant replacement for meat, and they have 3 times more concentrated protein than beef. So, keep that in mind when you're doing the argument for feeding this as the only source. This has 3 times more protein, and again, that's some insects. Insects do vary quite a lot. Things like crickets will be more have more nutritional value than mealworms. I'm going to link below a list of insects feeders and the overview of the content and which is best and things like that. So again, you can read into that more yourself. Now, the people tend to steer away from mealworms. Now, I give my gerbils mealworms every day. They get about 2 or 3 each every day. They're very young and very lean and very fast and very healthy, so it doesn't affect them at all. Now, the reason they're high in fat is natural fats like omega-3. So there's no need to worry about, if people say they're high in fats, that's good omega-3 fatty acids. Unlike these, which is saturated fats, these are much better for them. Some feeder foods are really high in zinc and again low in saturated fat, so I would definitely recommend insects. Now, like I said, there's going to be another source of protein in my next video, but the only other one I haven't included is fish. Now, I have a bit of an issue in feeding shrimp and things like that to insects. Now, again, as an occasional treat, it's fine, but in their natural habitats, they're not going, you know, a hamster, for example, is not going to venture out into a river and dive for fish, are they? That's not part of the natural diet, and they wouldn't naturally find that in their diet in the wild. So I would suggest, if your hamster loves the shrimp, like for example, you can get shrimp in the naturals mix and the woodlands mix in Pets at Home. You know, if you're buying it and he really enjoys it, you don't have to stop feeding it. But again, it's not a complete source of protein. It should be used and seen as a treat. But I personally avoid fish with rodents, and I tend to stick with eggs, insects, and, you know, the only other thing as well I haven't really talked about is natural meat as you find it. So again, if we have some leftover chicken breast, I will boil it and give it to the gerbils, and they really enjoy it. Things like beef, you don't have to stop feeding it just because it is high in saturated fat. You can cook it up and give it to your rodent, that's fine. So thank you for watching today. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it just gives you something to think about. By no means take my word for it. Go off and research yourself, because, you know, some people watching this might have rats, some people might have guinea pigs, some people might have gerbils. Go and have a look. Please read and watch the links below. It will explain it in much more detail, and wherever possible, stay away from processed byproduct food from these big companies that seem to churn a lot of the food out just to make profit, and a lot of them don't really think about unfortunately don't think about the nutritional value in the food a lot of the time. However, like I say, some are really good. So yeah, thank you for watching. I will get my next video, which will sort of be part 2 on protein, up as soon as possible, but there is a bit of prep work in that. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you all again soon. Thank you.